just a fascinating dude. I've known this kid a long time and really excited about the opportunity to talk to him. It's Jaxon Kohler, newest BYU Cougar. Jaxon, welcome to the program.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. How's everything going? How are you feeling now that you've made your decision?
You know what? It's been a crazy process so far, but you know what? After making it official, I'm just so happy to, be part of Cougar Nation and to get the ball rolling and start getting to work as soon as I can.
I'm curious how a guy who played at 4 high schools then went to college for 4 years at the same school. Had you had enough of moving around? How'd you get locked in an era when people don't really get locked in?
Yeah, no, honestly, from start of high school up until this moment, it's been a roller coaster. High school was super chaotic, especially having the pandemic right in the middle of it. And then once college came around, I wanted to stop kind of bouncing around like I did in high school. And staying there at Michigan State for 4 years was, something really special to, my journey as a basketball player. And now that, times can be super, super weird with the NCAA and, this 5th year, you just got to make the most of your opportunities. And that's what I'm doing right now.
The time at Michigan State, I think it's well chronicled that Coach Izzo is first and foremost a really good basketball coach, but his methods are, he's a very physical guy. He's demanding. How did you find your experience there? Like DJ said, most guys go into a place if they're not a star, they hit the road. But I think you saw the bigger picture and what Coach Izzo could do for you.
Yeah, Coach Izzo and the staff are known to be, really extreme and, demanding. But when I first got there and times were starting to, become really hard for me, I knew that in the bigger picture, that's exactly what I needed. Most people run into a situation like that where they might hit a wall and, they try to go another direction. But Coach Izzo and his staff had so much faith in me, and they just said, this is what gets you stronger. Not everything, it has to be improved on the basketball court. Sometimes it has to be improved, in your mind and how you see the game. And the way I saw it was, if I can stick this out, these guys have faith in me. I just need to learn how to, overcome this obstacle, which was, the day in, day out grind and, having a coach that, demanded the world. And honestly, I felt like that made me not only a better basketball player, but a better person.
Why not do a 5th year at Michigan State? Why do a 5th year at BYU?
You know what? I think I know that right now this is such a unique situation. And right now, his roster is full. And it's more than that because I know the younger guys on that team, Cam Warren, Jesse McCullough, like I know those guys and it's their time now. They're gonna step up and they're gonna shine for Michigan State. And you know what? They're going through a process just like I went through. And I know that if I were in their shoes and, someone kind of came back and, kind of interrupted my journey, things would have turned out differently. And I don't want to impact their journey anymore. I feel like my last year as a senior, I mentored them as best I could and, prepared them for what lies ahead. But now it's time for them to kind of take over and be the faces of Michigan State.
You mentioned unique, and definitely this journey for some of you guys is going to be unique because you played in the NBA Summer League this summer, and very rarely does a guy go do that and then turn around and go back. But it's just kind of the way this is all working legally. Your experience at Summer League, I watched. I was really impressed with you, Jaxon. I felt like all those things that Coach Izzo, prioritizes, and that's to be physical, to be a presence, to be strong with the basketball, to make the right play. I feel like you really went out there and did that. I even saw you drain a big old 3. How fun was that, and what kind of things did you learn in Summer League?
You know what? Summer League was an amazing experience. moving up the level and kind of seeing what kind of the NBA style of play is like. I mean, in Michigan State, it's a little different from Utah Jazz Summer League. It's a lot faster, and you have way more guys on the team. You have a lot more talent. Everyone on that team can score. Everyone on that team is one of the best player on their college team. I would say just soaking up as much information and kind of learning what the game kind of turns into after college. That's one thing that I really tried to pay attention to was the small things. How practices are different than college practices, how NBA games are different than college games, and that's something that I'm really grateful that I got to experience. And having that information with me as I return to college and use that for one more year to prepare for the NBA.
What is the biggest difference between college and at least the summer league version of the pros? What startled you the most?
Honestly, I think that there wasn't anything that shocked me right off the bat as much as I thought there would be. I mean, obviously, like I said, every person on your roster was the best player on their team in college, but I think the culture that the Utah Jazz had with everybody was the most special. I think everyone was, happy to be with their teammates, and we actually enjoyed playing with each other and hanging out off the floor, and that's a huge part of basketball. I mean, that's something that a lot of people might not think about, but I think the chemistry and the camaraderie that we had just by being with each other for a week, of practice and then jumping into summer league games, I think that was really special, and that's what made that experience so fun. Was that not only were we having a good time on the floor, but we were also having a great time off the floor too.
So you make your college decision, and you had you had some great options, really great spots, play college basketball. What was the deciding factor for BYU?
So the deciding factor with BYU was that they have NBA coaches and NBA staff, NBA experience. They had a perfect opening for a big man, and I felt like that it felt like it was just kind of meant to be. I mean, they play a lot of NBA offense, which is something that I need to, which something I was looking for, because going on to the next level, I need to make sure that I can fit into a NBA kind of offensive style of play. And Coach Young and his staff are not only great coaches and they have great NBA and basketball IQ, but they're great people too. And I feel like that being home is a big part of it. But I feel like the basketball fit was just the best out of any place.
Give us a little self-analyzation, a breakdown. The thing you do best, you're most proud of, you're happiest with, your strength, your go-to, and the area you need to improve the most.
I would say that my strongest parts of my game are playing inside the post and then being able to stretch the floor and knocking down three-point shots. I'm a very physical, intense kind of guy. That's something that I take a lot of pride of. I dominate on the glass. That's a huge part of my game. But I feel like I'm a good team leader, and I want to make sure that everyone is on the same page about winning, because at any level, that's what it's all about, is winning. And that's something that I take a lot of pride of, and something that I want to get better at, and something I'm looking forward to showing everybody is defensive versatility. That's something that I've been working on in the off season every single day, and that's the most feedback that I got from NBA coaches, and that's something that I'm looking forward to showing everybody that I can do at an elite level.
So you've had some Powder League games. How's that been? I've gone to Powder League a little bit. It's like an NBA All-Star game a little bit defensively, but it's certainly not Tom Izzo defense. Let's put it that way. But how has it been to be out there and playing against guys with ties to Utah?
It's been great, because a lot of these guys I grew up with. A lot of these guys I've known since I was in 6th grade. Like me and Colin Chandler, we go all the way back to 3rd grade. You know, we've been playing on the same AAU team and traveling and getting the opportunity to play with these guys finally after so many crazy years of high school and college. You know, it's a meaningful moment for me, honestly, because being able to play with these guys that have known me for the longest time is something really special. And seeing them in Powder League too has just been so fun. And what makes Powder League so fun is that I also get the opportunity to play with my younger brother Jordan. I mean, he's going through the process right now, and I think he's gonna take some big steps this year at Slick. And so I would, you know, everyone keep your eye on him because he's gonna turn some heads and he's gonna do really well this year. But in terms of seeing like all my friends that I grew up with that are now have ties to Utah, whether it's Utah University, BYU, or anything like that, it's a special moment for me.
Your brother's playing for a great coach over there at Slick, Dave Rice. Dave Rice will, as you remember, you played for Dave in an All-Star game, I think, and you had 50. Right. So that's a good connection, Rice and Kohler. We'll see if that can continue.
There is word that there's another court decision today that is going to render fifth-year players ineligible, and yet there's also promise that there is going to be a follow-up appeal to that, and so it's not set in stone. I assume you know the situation is fluid and you have multiple things going here. If for some reason the rules just say you can't go to BYU, what's next? Is it an NBA camp? Do you have an agent looking overseas to Europe? It seems like you better have multiple plans at this point in your life.
Yeah, I mean, we've always addressed the possibility of you know, what if this can't work. So far, the plan that I understand is that we would try to go to some NBA boot camps and just try to see if I can, you know, get a two-way contract somewhere, or even in the G League. I'm okay with playing the G League and kind of working my way up. But at this point, you know, we put a lot of cards on the college thing. But my agent has told me that you know, this can always change. And if it does, you have to have backup plans in play. So playing in the G League would be an option. Playing overseas is another option. I've looked into it a little bit. Not sure how I feel about it just yet. But yeah, I would try to, you know, find a camp that can take me, that would invite me, and you know, just try to work my way up, even if it means you know, playing in the G League, trying to find a way to a two-way contract. That's what I would say what the plan would be.
You definitely have, you mentioned it, but going through high school and COVID and all of this crazy stuff, man, it's like the weirdest pocket. I guess you got to be on your toes and have a plan. When you think about all the places you've played, the arenas you've played, I'm going to make a guarantee that nothing will stand up to the place you're about to go play in, because that place is a madhouse, the Marriott Center. You heard the stories about it. You excited to play there?
I am so excited to play there. I've seen clips, I've heard stories, and you know, it's all the BYU fans listening out there. I want to make sure that our first game in the Marriott Center, you guys bring it your all. I mean, I'm excited to, you know, I played in some big arenas, but I have a good feeling about the Marriott Center. I want to see how much energy we can get in that place.
Was recruiting this time around different than recruiting the first time around? Was this a little more speed dating, less of the whole dining and world tour thing?
Yeah. This time around, it was 10 times harder than the first time because the circumstances were different. All the coaches weren't exactly sure how to navigate this process because it's so different. It's the first of its kind. And you know what? It was really hard because regardless of the destination, I mean, I'm going to have to come in there, you know, 3 months behind in terms of, you know, summer workouts and team chemistry. But I know these guys at BYU, and they're great people. And I'm just hoping that they, you know, they invite me with open arms, and, you know, super welcoming. I've already got texts and DMs from most of the players saying welcome and, you know, happy to have you here. And that's something that is really special to me. I mean, in terms of, you know, the other places that I've offered, You know what, they gave amazing pitches and they gave, amazing details and offers, but we knew that we had to make a choice, and BYU was the best fit for multiple reasons, for basketball, for family, for my career moving forward after this level. BYU was the best fit overall.
It's crazy to think this team will have transfers from Michigan State, Kentucky, Syracuse. I mean, we used to, we used to do our best to try to get transfers, but man, that's in 1 year, that's pretty good. You talk about Kevin Young and the time you have spent with him. You mentioned the fact that they're good guys. I wholeheartedly agree with that. What is it in your conversations with Kevin Young that gave you confidence that you could trust him with the next step?
I would say that the conversations that I've had with Coach Young have been, very straightforward, and they've been very, empowering, because he, his offense, is an NBA style offense, and they run through their bigs, and they make sure to get everybody involved, and they play at a high speed, and we have good guys around, who are very skilled and who can shoot the ball, and I feel like the addition of Colin Chandler and Rob Wright and everyone else on this team, I feel like if we figure out how to play, cohesively together, we're going to be a very dangerous team from the 3-point line, inside the post, on defense. We're going to be a very, very unique, really good team, and that's what Coach Young is all about. He's all about his guys and his team, and making sure that he puts his guys in the best position possible to make it to the next level. And that's one thing that was very that really set well with me, was the fact that he can get his guys to the next level.
I'm as shallow as any media member. I can talk 3-point shots, home runs, and quarterback play all day long and never worry about defense. But listening to you analyze your own game earlier, what I took away from that was the feedback. You have a lot of confidence in your ability to score inside and outside, a lot of confidence in your ability to rebound. The feedback you got from NBA people is about moving on defense. It sounds like the hurdle for you getting into the NBA is, can they put you on the floor and switch everything? As a 6'9" guy, can you switch onto a 7-footer, but can you switch onto a 6'6" guy? Is that fair? And if so, are they going to be playing a lot of man defense and doing a lot of switching on the perimeter at BYU this year? What'd you hear?
Yeah, I mean, the feedback from the NBA guys is that at the NBA level, I mean, all, guards have to guard centers and centers have to guard guards. You have to be able to guard anybody. And especially in this modern NBA era, you got insane height, insane versatility of players. Players that are, anywhere from, 6'8" to 7'5" who can do anything. So you have to be able to guard anybody. And so that's one thing that I talked a lot about with Coach Young, is being able to show the versatility. And I believe from our conversations that I'll have opportunities this year to prove to everybody, that I am not this stereotype, white guy who's super slow with his feet, big guy. I want to show people that I can move my feet. I have some athleticism to me, instead of being the white man can't jump stereotype.
I'll ask this just because I can now. Were the offers pretty comparable across the board for your services?
You know what? All the the offers were all great. I mean, they all were. A lot of these offers, they were just like, how can you pass up on? One of them being Kentucky. Mark Pope's a great guy. And, he's building a great program over there. We were on the Zoom call for 2.5 hours, and, it went really well. But that's what made this whole process, 10 times harder than the first time around, was that all these guys were, offering such great things. But at the end of the day, BYU is the best fit for me, as a basketball player, as a person, as a son to my family. And it was, the best thing for me and, in my life. But some of these offers were, you kind of heard them and you're like,
are you serious?
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Hey
And
man, I would
so
have gone with you. You could have split it with me, Jax. I mean, come on. I've been following you around since the 8th grade, bro.
that's right.
You know who
I
I'm
mean, shout out to you, man.
you know who I'm happy for? I'm happy for your dad. Your dad's a good dude. I've seen him a ton in his interactions online and being back at Michigan State. It's going to be neat for him to watch you locally here.
Yeah, no, I mean one of the biggest things is my parents, they've done such an amazing job of, trying to support me and my brothers and, my family, and all that travel was, really hard. I mean, hopefully they can say it was worth it, but it was hard, but they I hope that they this year have the time of their lives, being able to see, both their sons play at Slick and BYU. I mean, they they deserve, the world for all the hard things that they've been through and all the hard things that they helped me with and with my younger brother. And, you know, being closer to them was a pretty big, pretty big factor in all this because, even in high school, there was times where I had to live away from them. My freshman year of high school, I had to, you know, live in a dorm without them. And I feel like there's a special part of this whole process about coming to BYU, that kind of makes up for, all those years in high school that I had to, live somewhere else, or I can only see them on weekends, especially being a 15-year-old kid. Um, there's something very, very special about, being able to do this with them, and being able to see them whenever I want, and, having them be that much closer to this whole process.
Do you have extended family? You got grandparents, aunts,
I
uncles,
do.
nieces, nephews? I don't know. Any, yeah. How many tickets do you need to the average game? Because I don't know if you know, but they're hard to come by.
Not for him,
You know,
man.
I,
He's got dough. This guy's got cash.
Okay.
You know what? I think for this season I might need a lot. But yeah, I heard that it's a little hard to get some, but we'll figure something out.
Okay.
Jaxon, man, I appreciate you. We've been talking the last couple of weeks, and I was so excited to see you make your decision and feel so good about it. For BYU fans, you are getting a winner. Kid that I have watched, his footwork is. You're going to love his footwork is Akeem Olajuwon-esque, and I don't throw that out there lightly. He had his footwork in the 8th grade. Coach Rose looked at him and was like, that dude reminds me of Akeem right there. So, dude, go do it, man, and thanks so much for taking the time with us today.
Hey, no, thank you guys, for real. Thank you guys for supporting me through this whole journey, and dating back all the way to high school. Your guys' support has meant so much. I mean, even through the years in Michigan State and through this, I mean, your support has meant more than you guys know.